Sorry about that, fellas.
I don't know if you're going to touch on the whole win-win-win economy within the uplift, and how that's going to be wax propelled, wax fueled.
I mean, we can. Here, I'm actually going to hop in game. So the whole point to this particular episode that we were going to do is give people a tour of some of the builds that are just like populating the world like crazy. So we're going to do that. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to use this as well to let people know what that's going to be like. And again, there's a lot of people that are building that don't really know much about cryptocurrency, are starting to learn about NFTs. So like bringing this together and running through it from as high level and educational place as possible would be really good. So from that context, tell us about the win-win-win economy of the uplift there, Andrew.
Boy, where do we begin? Like, I mean,
that's always my problem. Like, how do you, what?
Imagine a world, the uplift. Imagine a time where you can actually, we can't really say the word own or buy, but we can say that you can own what's called an NFT land key that gives you the express permission and rights to do whatever you want on that land that you hold that NFT key for. And with that key, you can also invite a community in to help you build on that land, mine that land, do whatever you want on that land. And within this world, there is something called wax, which is the cryptocurrency that has real world value, and it's going to gain more and more world value, in my opinion. And based on action within your world, in your land, you'll receive wax tokens. And with these rewards, you can then decide how much you want to reward your community within your land that's helping you build that community. Now, as you build your structures and your land and
Can you guys hear me?
Points of interest, you will hopefully garner people coming and visiting your land and admiring your works of art and your structures. And so we can also monitor traffic patterns. And based on traffic patterns, those wax rewards increase. So over time, you and your community, your sub-community within the larger community, is earning real world value based off of your efforts. And with that, then the NFT land key that you own, just like in real world real estate, when you've got a piece of real estate that people enjoy visiting and being on, that real estate is naturally, what happens to that real estate, Corey, when people really like the piece of land you have for whatever reason?
Somebody eventually wants to buy it. And if it's a revenue generating piece of property, for good reason.
Right. So we can mimic real world real estate within this world, but using our sub-layer NFT blockchain world and integrate the two together so they work together as this is basically the playground. This is the map, but not necessarily the territory. The territory is stored on blockchain, which is an immutable ledger, which basically means that it's unhackable, it's unchangeable, and it's auditable by anybody who wants to view it. So, this is a world where you can buy, collect, hold, sell, trade, gift NFT land keys that can hold incredible works of art to incredible museums, to buildings, to structures, to caves, to mountains, to, resource rich, whatever, right? To volcanoes. And it's completely, cool. It's completely ownable and transferable, but in a way that's much more slick, fast, and easy and liquid than you can do in the real world.
Hell yeah.
That's a really good explanation of what we're trying to do here.
Let's get into it. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to play a quick video so that we had some time to share this out ourselves. We got Bonz in. We're going to be talking about prospectors. Obviously, that was a little teaser for the Uplift Out World that's coming out soon, which is going to be fun. Bonz, how you doing? Like, I feel like you're literally in every project that I want to learn about, and we don't have enough time.
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been fun. Prospectors launch was delayed one day, so that's actually kind of good. So we only are just getting started, so this timing's actually perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw the Medium post today. So the Boomtown on Wax went live about 22 hours ago or so.
Yeah, it was. Exactly that. It was yesterday. Just went live. I actually didn't even get in until last night, and then I just kind of actually didn't do much because I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to kind of see things start from scratch. Are we able to do a share screen on
yes,
today?
100%.
Totally.
It should be right at the bottom in the middle. You should be able to click share screen, and if you can't, let me know and I'll fix it so you can.
Yeah, if you guys want to jump right in, I can show you getting started. But
Hell yeah.
So,
I don't know, man. We don't really go into games on the air very much.
yeah, I've been watching you guys. That's been fun. That little clip with M Blue was awesome too. You guys are doing good work over here.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
So
man.
yeah, this is the second Boomtown iteration, Eagle. It's on the Wax chain, as you guys know, and so far it seems like a success. People are off to the races. Everybody's hustle and bustle and getting their work done. The first few days are always the most exciting because the map isn't claimed yet, and everybody has a chance to sort of run around and gather up those those gold plots or whatever, the max resource plots and whatever. And everybody's working on, bringing their materials that they bought from the auction items and getting their building set up. So there's always a lot of hustle and bustle. And it's actually also good for people who are just looking to sort of work jobs. Like, if, for anyone watching, if you're just sort of learning about prospectors or just still haven't joined yet or thinking about joining, like you really don't need to make too much of an investment of either time or money. You can kind of play casually. It's not something that has to take up all your time. There's a lot of different strategies, everything from just logging in once a day and putting your guys to work, all the way to running businesses and having managing huge groups of workers and friends and your alliance mates. So yeah, there's a whole range of commitment that you could put towards. So I want people to know you don't have to be scared to join if if you're worried about a big time commitment or a big monetary commitment, because really you can join for almost for free. Basically you can join for free. You can literally work your way up from scratch if you want. I personally just bought a couple items so we could so I could kind of get started and kind of show you guys just one strategy. We can of course go over some other ones, but
what's the site for people to check this out?
Okay, so prospectors.io, and what you're going to do when you go there is there's an option to choose the server, and so of course there's going to be 3 different servers listed now, because there's the permanent world on EOS, the permanent world on Wax, and now this Boomtown, which is the Eagle is what it'll be called. So I think it'll automatically be default set it to Eagle. So when you hit choose server, it should say Eagle. You'll just scroll down and click play game, I think is what it is. So basically it'll ask you basically to connect your Wax wallet, or you can enter via scatter, but that's basically it. So
Bonz, sorry, I just have a question, like for wallets, is there mobile options available now, or is it just basically Wax Cloud Wallet, which anyone can get super easy if you don't have one, as well as the scatter? I'm just wondering for like mobile users and stuff like that.
Yeah, for mobile, I think the Wax Cloud Wallet should work with the app. I don't think that Scatter has a mobile option, so that wouldn't work. And I'm actually, I know you're pretty familiar with Wombat, Jimmy. I know we also accept the Wombat wallet, and I'm not sure on Wax, so that's
I don't think Wombat has a Wax portal yet.
Right. I realized that. I was saying that. I apologize.
Yeah, but I think if you're playing the regular game, then you can use the Wombat wallet to play the regular game, just not the Boomtown.
Exactly. Yep. Thanks for clearing that up. Exactly. So yeah, it seems that on desktop you can use Scatter. And I think, most people on Wax have a Wax Cloud wallet anyway, so that seems to be the easiest way to sign up.
Well, honestly, we don't really care about the people on Wax. We want new people.
Yeah. Well, and of course, as you know, like the Wax Cloud wallet is how we get new people into the space. Having a free wallet, similar to Wombat, I think that's sort of a no brainer. You have to have a free account creation right off the bat, or else you're missing the boat. And so Wax has done a great job, of course.
We rant about that, 3 or 4 times a day, probably, I would say, on the show.
Right.
So I just, while you, because some of our viewers are new, as Corey likes to point out, that they don't have Wax stuff. Like, that's kind of our mission on this goal.
Yeah,
is like two guys that know a little bit more than people who have never heard of it are trying to educate people so that they can later, a month down the road, educate us on the things that we forgot to educate them about. It's this like cyclical cycle of positivity that we're aiming for here, while covering our asses at the same time.
Exactly.
Hey, so I just got on the site, and this is the thing. Like, this is such a rich sort of gaming experience. Is there, would you recommend some stuff to start out with? Like you said, you got a couple things or whatever. Can you share your screen, by the way, just to make sure we can kind of walk through it?
Let's do it. So in case anyone wants to follow along here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share a screen now.
So while we wait for you to do this, I just want to say one other thing for people who might not know prospectors. The thing that I always shout the Boomtown out for, this is only the second one. The first one was on Wax. But what I like about it, and I've talked to Corey, about this a lot, is a lot of times people get intimidated when it comes to games because they're coming into a game with already people who have been playing, who have mastered it, who have the money, who own the land, who have all of this stuff. And I think what Prospectors has done with the Boomtown is awesome, because essentially everyone starts from square one, right? You go in, you can pick up some things from the auction, you end up in this new world where nobody really owns anything. They didn't bring anything from the outside world in. And together, they have to, work together to get as many resources as they can and get out of there before they die, which is a brilliant concept.
Really smart. I like that a lot. Like that everybody has to work collaboratively or you all lose. Boo.
Yeah, it's great. So.
Yeah, and on that, that's a great point, Jimmy. And that is a whole different element from sort of the original, more permanent lands where everyone is, there is a lot of synergy and a lot of people work together, and of course the alliances are huge. And the game has always been really like a social thing. Like I remember when I first started out, having a group of people that you're kind of all working together really makes the game more fun in general. It's always more fun to work with friends, but also it's kind of necessary. The game is a lot like real life. You're in a supply chain type of manufacturing situation where you need everything from the ground minerals all the way up. In order to make tools, you need all those minerals. You need wood from the sawmill. You need iron from the iron foundry. So basically, having a team to work with really makes the whole thing go a lot smoother. However, you can also be, we call them nomads. There's a lot of people who join the game who don't have a team, who don't have an alliance, and they can do great too. And so as far as this Boomtown, like you said, the Boomtown's cool because it is sort of the whole dynamic has kind of changed, and people are incentivized to actually work together to build the railroad, because that's kind of the whole deal. We gotta construct the railroad station in order to get this stuff back to the permanent land before the harsh winter comes in and forces us all out of town. So it sort of forces even more cooperation than what is already helpful. And so
speaking of nomads, I think one of your nomads wandered into our territory last night because we saw and ate something poisonous, because we saw some dude taking a bath in the ocean. We're not really sure where he came from.
What?
Remember when we went exploring, we saw that dude? He was just the green dude. And he was
in World. It's what the hell are you talking about?
Okay, so one thing I wanted to say too about the Boomtown is what it's a little bit more of a nuance aspect, but just so people realize that you can, of course there's the aspect of unless we build the railroad, you won't be able to take all the minerals that you mine with you, or the tools, and of course any people who are running a gold mine in the boomtown are waiting for the train station to be built in order to actually exchange the gold. So like in the permanent lands, there's banks. People build a bank, and that's kind of where you bring your raw gold, and that's where you can exchange it into gold coins like on your account, which can be then exchanged for PGL right within the game. So the point that I wanted to make was there is a way, of course, that you can just go in and start on day one, like I'm going to show you right here, where you are earning real gold coins. So you could be making some profit day one, so to speak. You're not really dependent on winning the boomtown or building the railroad to make profit. That's sort of a difference. Like there is, you can start on day one and still be making gold. You're not really depending on the railroad being built in order to be successful in this game. However, all the people who are running businesses, there's a whole other aspect of it too, where and this is similar in the permanent worlds, right? Where so you help build the railroad and you're earning state shares, right? So the state shares are sort of like a claim on a slice of the profit that the train station will make and that the railroad will make. It's kind of like if you help build the railroad, you're part owner of the railroad. And so there's so many different strategies that you can take in the boomtown. Some people specifically just work to earn PSS shares, the prospectors state shares. And so they're sort of playing the game where I'm going to make sure that the railroad gets built, and then I'm going to make sure I get a cut out of everything that gets shipped out of this land, and all the gold that's exchanged through there, which is what the gold commission fee is 50%, which is a lot higher than the regular worlds. But just like similar to boomtowns in real life, once you get in the outskirts, or the price of everything is kind of goes up, but there's also more gold here, right? So it's kind of like similar to what it would have been in the olden days, where the boomtown strike, where people go to the ends of the earth to get that that big gold vein, and then but the prices of everything starts to become outrageous because there's no supplies there. So it's pretty true to real life in that sense. So
I was just gonna say, like, I think a really good episode tomorrow. We're gonna put out a weekly roundup with all the posts, and we'll link some new articles and stuff to it. We'll link the Medium post that you guys just put out, Bonz, but I'm also going to link the first time that you came on Sherpcast with Corey to talk about the first Boomtown, because I think that was a great article. If you watch that back, you went through a bunch of the different strategies that a bunch of the different players had played and how they had figured it out, and how there was even a point where like you thought you weren't going to get out of there and stuff. So I would recommend that anyone who's interested in the prospectors would go back and watch that original Boomtown on, I think it was Tombstone, right? It was in the Wild West. But watch that video interview of you, because you go through quite a few strategies in that. So I would recommend that. And the second thing I wanted to ask is, this has always perplexed me, and I'm really glad I have you on the line, because, I'm kind of a historian, like a bit of a philosopher, I like to think about things. So you got to build the railroad to get out of the boomtown, right? And if you don't build the railroad in time, you freeze to death, or there's no water, or you die. That's correct, right? So my question is, how the hell do they get into the boomtown? Like do they drop in on parachutes, or like?
No, we walk. So obviously there's some level of lore involved here, but yeah. So as it stands, and it was even more so with the first Yukon, but basically all the lands when they start, the premise is basically that people basically walked there, brought their wagons, and set up this first little initial thing that you see. Now, are you guys able to see my screen here?
Hold on. Yeah. I just got to add to the thing. Perfect. Okay, let me get rid of this.
Okay, so,
boink, boink, there we go.
When the land starts, so basically, the premise is sort
awesome.
of that the first sort of settlers, walk there and set this initial sort of state building up, which is there's a university, there's the jail, and there's just the state building. And then this site here, which is where my workers are, this is actually the site where the railroad will be built, right? It hasn't even started. Construction hasn't even started yet. So right now what they're doing is gathering the resources, so people can donate resources to build the railroad or actually help build it. And either of those things will help you earn the state shares in the railroad, right? So as you can see here, like, people are already starting to build their building. So the deal with the auction is, Of course, if everybody just went to the land and started with absolutely nothing, you could theoretically start from scratch, build the tools by hand, which is another thing I wanted to mention is that it is possible to walk around. This is how you could start for free. You could literally walk around on the land, pick up some trees, pick up some, you could actually craft the tool by hand, right? But they're not as durable as the tools that come from the tool shop. So, it's a more time consuming way to do it. But theoretically, this whole land could start with nothing, and the people could, I think, theoretically build up from scratch like they probably would have had to do in the old days. But similar to the old days, people would have probably had their covered wagons, and they would have made some sort of, wagon train. And when they got there, there probably would have been some sort of little, little town set up, basic necessity, somebody selling the picks and shovels, so to speak. But yeah, it's pretty true to real times. And so the way that the boom towns or all lands start out, I should say, is that there's an auction to kind of speed things up. So they basically auction off like enough materials to build, say, a tool shop, and enough materials for a sawmill and a stone shop and an iron furnace. All these shops can be bought as a kit. And so all those materials are sort of, all the boards you need and all the nails you need are sort of transported in with that initial sort of wagon train when people are coming in to set up these initial sort of buildings here. And so by participating in the auction, you're kind of getting a little head start, which will allow people to have buildings set up in the first few days, which actually will allow all the players who didn't get things in the auction to be able to at least buy items like tools, right? So, you can see like right here, and these spots all close to the central station are all pretty prime locations. So this is one of our longtime community members, Natalie. She's building what I think is a wood shop here. The sawmill is what we call it. And so you can see all these people are just sort of building these shops. Some will be, tool shops, some will be iron furnace. People will build mines, of course. This guy's building a furnace here. So you can see all these people are building shops. All these materials came from the auction. They actually bought those buildings in the auction. That's how they're able to build them so fast. But again, like I said, you could basically start right now, start with a set of tools and go start cutting yourself down trees and start building your own sawmill from scratch. But of course, so like, again, the Boomtown is this special sort of situation where we're kind of in a rush, right? So you only have 49 days. So you kind of want to have a strategy and get to it, right? Whether that's mining minerals or mining gold or selling tools or trying to help build the railroad. There's so many different strategies you could do. And any of them could be profitable if you sort of have your act together, right? So I'll kind of just show you where I'm at, right? So these are my 3 workers, and this plot that they're at is is sort of the you can see this pile of supplies here, right? This is sort of everyone's supplies that bought items in the auction, right? So I've my computer's going kind of slow here. I think it's because I'm live streaming, but you can see you guys can all see that, right? So basically, I have some items that I bought here. So basically, I kind of just for
one question. Where do you buy that stuff, and what's that process like? Because I'm like I'm following along, and I just took a transport job. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm like, oh, if I had a wheelbarrow, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So exactly. So I actually just bought those items. So right here on the left.
Yeah. Where do you? So and how do you get the gold? How do you get like that whole process? Right? Do you do that on Wax or is that somewhere else? Like how do we do that?
Exactly. So right on Nudex, right? Like you can trade for PGL. Like you could buy some PGL tokens. In fact, there's even a wagon. Wow, there's 15 carts and a wagon actually on the market now. This wasn't here last night when I was looking. So you want to familiarize yourself with this marketplace, right?
Sure.
But yeah, you can get some PGL tokens right on Nudex. I should have started with that a long time ago. Like obviously to participate in the auction, you needed wax tokens, and by buying those items, you basically started the game, and those items were waiting for you right here in this plot. So anything you bought on the item will kind of be waiting here in this pile of stuff, and of course only your account can claim it. So these are the items I bought.
So just to clarify one thing, we covered this a little bit last week. So in case other people are confused, how these boomtowns work is there's a public auction that happens usually about a week to 2 weeks before. And people can go in and they can buy various items, small items like wheelbarrows or coffee cups, or I don't know if that's a goat, a donkey, or some stick. But anyway, all the way right through to like complete build sets for certain buildings, like a forge and things like that, right? And I guess there's a certain number that are auctioned off, and the highest bidders will then get those dropped into this box, which you're talking about, which then you could use. You could sell to other players and things like that, right? So
Exactly.
to go back to like what you said before, like you could go in there with nothing. You could buy nothing. You could just go and collect resources.
I just did. Like I got in there, like I got an account, and I'm like, oh, put these guys to work. And so, and I imagine that their earning capacities could be really, really low, but it was that fast, and I'm a moron, and I figured it out. So that's fine.
No, you're exactly right, man. You can start with nothing, and like so and Jimmy, yeah, those were all great points. You nailed it. You could buy from as little as a cup of coffee in the auction all the way up to an entire building, right? A lot of people just buy like some sets of tools is really helpful. Oh, also, I just wanted to quickly mention, we're actually doing a contest to give away 25 beginner sets, which is it's a set of every tool, one of every tool. So that way your worker can basically take all the different types of construction jobs. So we're giving away, I think, a whole bunch of those beginner sets. Right now we have a contest going on in our Telegram. So anybody who's thinking they'd like to get some tools, go ahead and try to enter that contest.
Hey.
But yeah, getting back to what you were saying, Corey, exactly. You can start the game with nothing, and because everybody needs. Okay, so one of the things with the game is you need to move stuff from point A to point B, right? You got to get a whole building set from that central location out to whatever plot you rent to set up your business. So you basically just post up a job and say, hey, I'll pay X amount of gold per minute to haul stuff from point A to point B. And so every worker, when you start the game, has a backpack, and that backpack can carry up to 30 kilograms worth of stuff. So at any point, anybody starting the game with nothing can come in and say, well, I don't have any tools. I don't have any any other way to make money. I can at least just carry stuff for someone, help be a transporter and transport any items, whether it's tools or building materials or resources, rocks or coal or clay or whatever. You can put that in your backpack and carry it and earn a wage right off the bat. So of course, as you pointed out, Corey, like I bought a couple wagons here, right? So you guys can see, like, I'm just going to quickly show like how you would set it up. So you see I have 3 wagons, a donkey, and some coffee, right? The coffee and the donkey, that's going to basically help me move faster. And the wagon is what's actually going to help me move more stuff. So I'm going to take this wagon, or excuse me, it's actually called a cart. The wagon is actually bigger. So the cart is like a wheelbarrow, right? And it basically holds up to 100 kilograms. So instead of just being able to carry the stuff in my backpack, I can fill 100 kilograms worth of stuff. So that means I'm going to be able to make more money. So basically, the more tools you have, the more money you can make, essentially, right? I'm just going to whitelist this. Sorry, my computer's...
I'm curious, like what percentage of people that are actually playing this game do you think could actually wheel around with 100 kilos in a cart or a wheelbarrow?
Yeah, 100 kilos is a lot, but you got to remember, people are tough back then, Yeah,
man, that's like, I like it. We see people like walking around with like, their lunchbox, like on one of those, suitcases with wheels these days, so that's good. Yeah.
So right here, I'm basically just showing the process of like, and sorry, this is taking so long. I think it's because I have the live stream going, and this laptop I'm on is kind of a POS, so it's a little slow. So, but you can see I'm basically just moving the items from the storage to my worker's backpack or to his equipment, which is like basically in his hands, right? So And the cool thing about this is every time I'm doing this, and as you can see, it's taking a long time, and it popped up scatter. Every single action that I'm doing is actually recorded on the blockchain. So I mean that's kind of what separates this game from other games. I mean it's really legit as far as a true blockchain game where every action is actually an action on the blockchain. So you can see that basically even just simple things like moving my items from my storage into my worker's hand is an action on the blockchain. Excuse me. So yeah, I got that worker set up. I'll wait to get the rest of the workers set up because it seems to be taking a long time. But so I basically just set up my one worker with a cart and a cup of coffee, right? And so now I can I can go ahead and look on the jobs board, and I can actually filter the jobs that are only transporting because that's the only tools that I basically have. And you can scroll, you can look on the right here and it says no workplaces, no workplaces. You can just find one that has some workplaces available. A lot of course the better paying jobs get filled up quick. So, just like real life, if you want something done fast, you pay top dollar, things get done quickly. If you try to pay minimum wage, you're gonna have less people applying for the job. So I kind of the tip I kind of do is I kind of just scroll down and look for the one that pays the best, obviously, and has workplaces available. So say this one, right? This guy, he's paying 4 gold per minute, which isn't great, but it's close. It's a close job, so it's not going to take me long. So I could be there in a flash. So I'm going to click perform. I'm going to pick my guy that has a cart. And it shows here like how much I'll be making, 4 gold per minute. I can transport 100 kilograms as we just discussed because I have a cart. It's going to take me 20 minutes. So my salary is 418 gold. And perform. Of course, I'm going to have to approve this. And so another quick tip here is, if you are playing with Scatter or even the Wax Wallet, you can whitelist these actions as they come up on your first time playing the game. And once you've done, all the basic actions and whitelisted them, you then won't have to approve every time in Scatter. You'll just be able to, click accept and it will automatically accept. So you'll want to, if you're using Scatter, if you're not familiar with it, you click the little icon in the bottom right, which is the whitelists. I accept all these things. So that way, anytime I'm doing a transport job or an order job from now on, it won't require me to with the Scatter pop up. It basically
you're in a game like Prospectors, but as we talked about last night, before you whitelist shit, please check and make sure that you're whitelisting something that's not going to be nefarious from some other project. I mean, you're absolutely 100% okay in here, but just double check because it's well, with the exception of today, it's the crypto bull, and there's a lot of people out there that are trying to steal people's funds. So if you're new to EOS, if you're new to Wax, if you're new to these types of wallets, just make sure that you read things first for a while and don't jump in.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jimmy. So basically, in the what you want to do whenever you're looking at a transaction when Scatter does pop up like that is look at the metadata. Like it's showing you exactly what's happening. Okay, so my transaction expired because it didn't fit in that block, and it's because my computer's taking so long. So I didn't actually get that transaction in time, and it's just because I'm doing my computer's doing the live streaming. But assuming my computer wasn't going slow, I would have took that job. My guy would automatically be walking to that location to go pick up that stuff and bring it to that plot for that guy, and you're automatically paid as soon as you take that job. The gold is immediately deposited into your account, and then it will show you that worker. It will show you that worker is working. You can go ahead and look at see where they are on their progress at any point. Yeah, it's pretty neat. There's a lot of stuff, and just by poking around and clicking on the guy and sort of clicking on the different locations, like say this tent will show you every worker that's actually on that plot. This shows my 3 workers because they're on that plot. You see all these other workers with their feet. That shows that they're actually walking here and shows how long it's going to take for them to get there. And you can actually see how much weight they have in their backpack, or if they have a cart or a wagon. So yeah, and you can go ahead and click on the jobs board on any particular plot and see which jobs are directly from that plot.
Oh, that's good. So you don't have to cut down your travel time. So one thing. So I just bought some PGL because I'm not fucking around. How do I use the? Is that the gold in the game? The PGL is just the gold, or do I have to?
So yeah, that's a great question, dude. You're gonna want to. So yeah, as soon as you have your PGL in your account, you log in. It's in your wallet, right? So a lot of people are confused by that. Like, in a lot of it in general, like people like when that's the difference between EOSIO and like a lot of other chains, right? Like you have your coins with you. Okay, so my guy did take that job. Your coins are in your wallet, and when you log into the game, you're logging in with your wallet. Like your wallet is you, right? So you have everything that you have in your wallet. You're logging in with your wallet. You're not actually sending your coins into the game. You are in the game with your coins, right? So that's kind of how I explain it to people so that it kind of makes sense. So when you log in and you have PGL in your account, man, this taking this job seems to take a long time. You'll it will show up right in your account in the in this section up here in the top right is your account button. It kind of looks like little gears there up in the top right.
Okay.
And when you click that, you have an option to so you see over here on the left is kind of like your wax account. It shows how much wax you have. It shows your gold. It shows your PGL. You want to exchange gold, you'll just and you can reverse it, so you can do gold to PGL or PGL to gold. So if I wanted to change some gold back to PGL, you could, put in how much gold you want to convert, and that PGL will automatically be back in your account.
This might be one of the levels because we're talking about doing this for the uplift as well, as far because there's like an entire in-game economy for Minecraft, and so this on our website would basically allow us to pass through because we're just gonna use wax, or I just want to drop this out there because I can't stop thinking about it. For the next, Jimmy knows exactly what I'm going to say. Eventually you're going to want to do another Boomtown. If you wanted to do it in the uplift, I know some people that would be very, very excited to set that up.
Let's talk about it, man.
I mean, it would be pretty crazy.
Sounds awesome.
And there's going to be some really cool community aspects that happen in there.
This could be weird. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that sounds
actually awesome. Before you continue, I would like to ask one question that was in the comments because I think it's an important thing to ask. And I can't find it again right now, but somebody asked, if I understood the question correctly, how much does it cost for each movement? And I'm guessing what they meant was how much does it cost for each action, because you said everything is on the blockchain. I think that's a really good point to note, like everything is on the blockchain. So that's really cool, like for a gaming perspective. But in terms of like actions, what constitutes a paid action? What constitutes an unpaid action?
That's exactly right. You're exactly right, Jimmy. It brings up such a great point. Because and it's true. People are so used to thinking every action on a blockchain has to cost money, and it doesn't necessarily cost money. As we know, it takes up CPU, right? And so, if this game, this game, Prospectors originally launched as an ICO on Ethereum back in 2017, and I think originally the game was going to be built on Ethereum, or they, the developers weren't really sure where could we build this game. And right off the bat, you realize that in order for it to be a true blockchain game and every action to be able to be accounted for on the blockchain, you really have to use a chain or software like EOSIO, where every action doesn't actually cost money or gas, a fee. It can't be a fee. It has to be a resource model based action. So Prospectors actually covers the CPU for all of these moves, as all good dApps should, right? Like the user shouldn't be running out of CPU trying to play your game. Like the game developers or the dApps themselves should always be covering all of the CPU for their users. And so actually, and it's good to point out, Prospectors is actually, it happened pretty quick, but Prospectors is actually the very first game to implement when that became available on EOS. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys remember, but some of the listeners may not remember. There was, the IDOS sort of came in, and all of a sudden the whole experience on EOS sort of changed overnight, and all of a sudden people found out what CPU was, and that the chain could actually get what people refer to as, congested, right? Like all of a sudden you're out of CPU. No one even understood that you could be out of CPU because it had worked so smoothly previous to that. And so that, and within that day, prospectors use that use the ability to be able to cover the CPU for all their users. And so and I think there's a couple random actions, and it's because of how the blockchain works that aren't covered. Most people, and there's a workaround too. So like, I know one thing is like editing orders. If you try to edit your order, if you don't have the CPU to cover it, you'll get some sort of CPU error. But then you can just cancel that order and remake an order, and Prospectors covers the CPU for that. So essentially, you can play the whole entire game without having to worry about resources, which is critical to a successful blockchain game. I feel like, it's like, you're a beginner and you come in and you start playing, all of a sudden you start getting error warnings about, billable CPU, this, like, it's so confusing. People have no idea what they're supposed to do. And then you're trying to explain to them how to go use Blocks.io and borrow from Rex. And that isn't the most intuitive process either. And so, as we all know, that's one of the friction points in blockchain. So obviously EOSIO enables a feeless transaction, and that's why this game is actually able to work, and especially on Wax, where it's even easier, and the resources are sort of even more obfuscated from the end user than even on EOS. So yeah, that was a great question, Jimmy. And so yeah, you can see my worker did take that work order of transport. It shows here that he's en route and 14 minutes and 33 seconds until he gets there. So yeah, it's kind of fun. Once you send your guys off, you can kind of follow along their progress, see where they're going. You can check when they're going to be back, and sort of set your work schedule around that. Another thing I wanted to mention quickly, as you see up here on the top left-hand corner, is the worker certificate. Anybody who's kind of, somewhat going to be playing, maybe logging in more than once a day, because honestly, if you're only going to log in once a day, you don't even need to get a certificate. But say you just want to log in, once in the morning, once at night, or maybe once in the afternoon and once at night. If you want to put your workers, you'll want to get the worker certificate, because that allows your workers to work for 5 hours at a time. Otherwise, you could log in theoretically every hour and put your workers back to work, but they need rest as well. So it's like, I tend to think it's better to just get the work certificate, and it costs 58,000 gold, which is 58 PGL. So at the current rate, that might be like $1. I mean, I don't know exactly how much that costs, but or what it is in Wax, but I think probably maybe 30 Wax tokens or 20 Wax tokens.
Get a certificate.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like doing this right now. I'm like, yeah.
You get the work certificate. It's if you're actually planning on kind of playing the game, you kind of want the work certificate. But again, it's not necessary. The game is free to play as advertised. But it takes money to make money, as the saying goes. And if you invest a little bit into your players via either the work certificate or the you can actually get them, send them to the university and get them diplomas, which allows them to get the higher level jobs, which so it's just like in real life, right? You want to get higher skilled job, you get you pay for the education or the certification to do so. And so that's another way you can sort of invest in yourself. And again, it's kind of the same with the tools, right? Like you can start the game with nothing and go build tools by hand, or you can sort of buy them from the tool shop, which costs more, but then you have a better quality tool, and it sort of speeds your progress along. But of course, and I would suggest that anybody who's a totally new player, just a straight up noob, do that walkthrough tutorial that they have. It at least kind of explains a few of the basic things, like placing an order and taking a job, and I think that it goes through the actions of building a tool by hand. But if it doesn't, and I think it does, but you can figure out how to build a tool by hand right on your worker. When you click on your worker tab icon, you see up here in the top right is like manufacturing. So you can actually manufacture all of these items by hand. This is one thing that new players might find a little they would like to learn about, is how can I actually just start from scratch and actually build a tool. Well, first you need to come up with these materials, because these are the materials that it takes to build the tool. You need wood for the handle, you need some steel, and a nail. And then you can make any of these tools from those items, right? So, and of course, any of these materials like wood, if you want to make some wood, a wood handle, a wood beam, it says right here, required materials, wood. You need 3 kilograms of wood, right? So basically, I would send my worker to a free plot, like any plot that's not rented, whatever material, whatever resources like trees or rocks or minerals, you can just take them with your hands. And that's another actual strategy that people can use to make money in this game. Is as you know, if someone's a sawmill, they need wood constantly, right? So a lot of times they'll just put up a buy order and say, anybody who wants to deliver me wood here, I'll pay five gold per kilogram, whatever they pay. And so a nomad or anybody who just wants to earn money can just walk to a plot, like I'm going to find one that's not owned. Okay, so the close ones to the central plot are a lot of them are going to be rented already. But see, like any of these plot that has a tree on it that doesn't have a name up on top is a free plot, right? So like this plot right here has 2,700 kilograms worth of trees. It's not rented. You can just send your guy there and start cutting down this wood. There's 2,700 kilograms of wood there. You can cut it down with an axe or a saw, which will obviously give you a lot of wood, or you can literally by hand just gather wood off the ground, which again, just like building a tool by hand, it's more time consuming, and you're not going to get as much. But you can just literally by hand go grab wood off the ground, go in your backpack, select go on your player icon, select manufacturing, and just by hand craft up yourself some wood beams and start the process of making yourself some tools. Obviously, you'd rather just once the shops are built, if you need a board, you can just buy it from the sawmill, right? It's a lot easier to buy it from someone who has the tools, or has a shop. But I just kind of wanted to explain to people that you can basically start with nothing and walk to plots and gather materials and build yourself some tools, or gather materials to go sell to people that want them. So another strategy I'll quickly mention is and this is good for sort of a nomad who doesn't want to maybe invest in renting a plot. You could just buy yourself a wagon or a cart, or just use your backpack, right? You could just walk to plots. If you have the right tools, say you had a saw and a saw or an axe, you can just walk around the map, look for plots with forest on them that are free plots, and just harvest wood and fill up your wagon or fill up your backpack with wood, and then just transport, and then find someone. You look on the buyers list, so there's a marketplace here, right? And the marketplace shows this is all the people who are selling stuff. So if you want to buy stuff, you just go on the marketplace, you select the items you want to buy. Like here's a wood beam. Say I just want to buy one. These people are selling it for that's actually 350 gold. I don't know if that's worth it or not. I guess you'd have to do the math on, it's only because the game just started. So people, there isn't a lot of wood available, but soon the free market will dictate via competition, the most fair price, of course, just like real life. Right. So that's of course, if you want to buy items, but if you want to sell items, you click over here and you say, who wants to buy some wood? And you see here's a whole list of people that are saying, I'll buy wood for 6 gold per kilogram, for 5 gold per kilogram. This guy wants 2,000 kilograms worth of wood and is willing to pay up to 5 kilograms, 5 gold per kilogram for it, right? So, one strategy could be I'll send all 3 of my workers to a free plot. I'll have them gather wood all day until my wagons are full. And then I'll just send them to this guy's plot. And when you get to this guy's plot, you just click on his store and it'll just say sell items. And I can just sell the wood right to him, and he'll automatically buy it from me as long as his buy order is up. See this little cart over here on the right? I'll just hit that cart. And if any of my guys had wood in their backpack, I could just sell that wood to that guy and collect that money, all without really having to rent a plot or, all with just my guys and the tools on their back, basically.
Right. Yeah. I just picked up some tools. They're not too terrible. When you have the certificate, how do you get it set up so that they do 5 hours worth of jobs?
As soon as you buy that worker certificate, as soon as you buy it, you have it. And so now your worker, if he wants to accept the job, he'll automatically be able to work for the 500 minutes, which is or excuse me, 300. Did I say 5? It's 300 minutes, which is 5 hours.
Yeah.
So, and then there's actually you can actually upgrade your account, which is a whole nother level. It's called premium, and this is more for people who are like who are, sort of running shops and running multiple businesses, you're actually able to not only, so you can buy a premium, and that premium allows you to, let me see if I can find it. Premium, it comes right up under the account. So it changes your purchase limits, your sales limits, your order limits. It increases the amount of active jobs you can have in your location. It actually makes your energy be restored like very, very fast. So after you finish a job, you can take another job immediately. You don't have to, there's no resting involved. And that works out to 17 cents per day is basically and you can buy it for the entire Boomtown, which is, I think it works out to around like $7 or something. So, and you can buy that for any amount of time. You could get that. You could build your building first, and then when you have more of a need for that, buy it. So if it took you, say, a couple weeks to build your building, you could then buy the premium account and have it for only, say, the last month, and it might only cost you, $3 or $4 maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the premium is, for the more industrious sort of activities. If you're involved with, renting multiple plots, you probably want to have the premium. But again, it's not necessary. I actually was running several buildings in one of the other lands, all without. I've never bought the premium. I've never needed it. And I was able to run 3 plots pretty easily without ever having the premium. And again, it's just, the thing with the worker, workers needing rest. So I used to kind of had, a little tip that I used to do for people who don't want to buy the premium. I would just put my workers to work in the morning. Like, before I was going to work, on my way to work, I'd pull out my phone, put my guys all to work, and I would check back in at lunchtime, and they would all have already finished the job and be all rested up. So I would just then put them back to work, and then, go about my day. And, when I got home at night and I'm chilling, I'd pull my phone back out, and my workers would have already been done working, and they'd all be rested up. And I'd send them.
Okay, I got bad news. I have another show I have to do that starts in 7 minutes. So, okay. Bonz, 5, and this is good, but where can people go to get more stuff? Obviously, if anyone wants to start playing this, and like I saw Danish Crypto was like, oh man, I need a team or whatever. Like, I'm definitely going to be excited. I want to understand this a lot better, so I'm going to be playing for sure.
Yeah, and I don't forget as well, Corey. Bonz did set up that prospector site on Chirp app as well, so that there's probably a lot of people that can go there and coordinate.
That's absolutely where we should connect for sure, because there's a little bit of a PGL coming out for comments and stuff, so that's pretty fun too. But yeah, what do people need to know, like the high level stuff? 5 minutes, go to town.
I would say just, that's a great point, Jimmy, about meeting up on Chirp. Like, I also don't really have an alliance this time. I would be totally willing to work with you guys or anybody else. I was kind of, cool. I'm kind of playing as like a nomad right now, but by all means, if one of you guys, if we want to team up a little bit, yeah, that's what it's really all about is, meet up on Chirp, find some people who, if you have an idea and you're like, hey, I want to run a mine, and someone else is like, hey, I just want steady work. Make a deal with people. Like, I used to literally make deals with people and say, hey, I'll give you steady work. You can just work on my plot. And that way you don't need to walk around trying to find work. You can just log in. Your guys are already there. You just take the job. And it's all about just talking to people, making deals. Like, find a group of people that you want to work with, or even just work, get together the Chirp community and just say, hey, this is sort of what we're doing. There's jobs here. Let's work together.
Yeah, dude, be our leader on Chirp and freaking just put us all to work and like help us figure it out, because that would be really, really fun. And obviously we've got the channel set up on Chirp to do that. And I've got a little bit. I got like 1.4 million gold right now.
Nice.
So for the people. I'm not messing around. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm not messing around. For the people that go to Chirp, find the prospectors thing, comment that you want to be on the team. I'll find out from Bonz what the sort of best tools would be, and we'll maybe set up 5 or 10 people with some basic tools.
Yeah, that's a great idea, man. And let's this was fun. Let's do a follow up, man, because this weekend.
I think we got to do more. This is not enough. Maybe even later today. Like, I've got my hashtag coffee show. After that, I've got a fuck ton to do. But at the same time, if you guys want to meet up in a couple hours, or Jimmy might be asleep, I'd be up for another one.
I can be available anytime, man. I think this is fun, and I know I kind of went into the weeds, but there's a lot of subtle nuances and stuff, and so
For
yeah,
sure.
and once people are in there and you're poking around, I know it can be a little intimidating, like when people have never played before. There's all these different buttons, you don't really know what's going on or how to move items from whatever. Like it's once you start playing it, it's pretty easy, and it helps to have people to ask questions. So I would just say to everyone, if you're new, go join the Telegram, join up on Chirp, ask questions. Don't be afraid. People are more than willing to help. And yeah, let's do this again and get more into it.
You know what I think should happen, Corey, and I'm not even sure if it's possible, but we don't have anyone scheduled at the present moment for next Thursday for EOSIO Weekly Update. I mean, we could jump on here and get Bonz back again, and we could just have everyone in the comments on the game doing crazy shit too. That would be a week after the game's been launched. That might be kind of fun.
Well, yeah, let's for sure do that. But Bonz, if you're available today, and if anybody else wants to get this rolling, again, go to Chirp, find the PGL, find the prospectors thing, comment that you want to do this with us, and maybe we'll connect for another hour, and basically just so okay, if we have 5 people, 10 people, whatever it is, how do we get us all to work the most efficiently so that we can do another update on Thursday and get that rolling.
That's a great idea, man. Let's meet up in Chirp. Let's see if we have some, gather who's interested in the community. And, there's probably some people who are already playing who would be into, who are looking for an alliance or just, want to work with some people. It's like I said, it's more fun with community, and the community on Chirp is great. So, and the prospectors community is great. There's a lot of people there to help. So yeah, let's gather up a group. Anybody who wants to join, meet us over there and let's get an alliance together.
All right, quit being interesting. I gotta go.
All right.
All right, see you guys. Bonz, I'll be in touch. All right.